This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
As I'm thinking about what we're going to talk about today, I truly believe it applies to all of us at some time in our lives. And that is, think about this for a moment, your identity. Now, I'm not just talking about your name. That is your identity. Of course it is. But the role you play in life and what happens when that role and or identity changes. Number of different reasons. It could be change in a relationship, change of job, could be involved in something traumatic like an accident, whatever it might be. But your identity as you know it has now changed. Maybe you have multiple identities in life. We all do. We play different roles. But when one of those major identities changes, it's very impactful. We're going to talk about that today. She helps people many different areas on their emotional wellness, mental wellness, so much more. And along with that, also helps people pilot through car accidents and what is left behind from that. Certainly a change in your identity with that. She is from Pressman and Associates. Miriam Rosario is back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Real good, real good. This is a intriguing topic as I think more about it, how our lives change when our identity changes, and many times we didn't plan on it, right? Where do you want to start today?
And I guess it doesn't really matter. My whole focus is always on mental health and when our identity changes in that sense. As far as being injured, or I know that you had mentioned earlier, we have several different identities, and one of the biggest ones I know in therapy is when we end a relationship. So
Mm.
we can start with any one of those.
Why don't we go there? Why don't we start there? And there's so many different scenarios there with identity changes and what comes from that. But okay, relationship change. Somebody gets divorced. What has changed there? They used to be a husband or wife. Now their identity in life is different. They're still a mother and or father, but the identity there may change a little bit in terms of their roles. So maybe that's a
Yeah.
subcategory of the identity change. I'm just going broad here. With a relationship change, what else is happening? What might I be missing?
Well, when we're in a relationship, what ends up happening is we merge who we are because we hopefully compromise in a healthy way the different parts of ourselves with our partner. So when that relationship ends, it's really about getting the pieces back of who we are, who we want to be without that person in our lives anymore.
We we hold these identities very close to us, don't we? Maybe to the
Yes.
point where um, maybe we shouldn't. Like it's often been said, like you are your identity. Let's say your work identity. You live behind that. This is who I'm an accountant. This is what I do. That's what people know me for. I'm an accountant. We put a lot of emphasis on that. I'm thinking we probably shouldn't,
Right, because of who we are and what we do are actually very different,
right?
because the person that we are, like Steve, I'm gonna make some assumptions and I'm sure you can correct me if you'd like, but I would say outside of the host of podcasting that you have a vibrant sense of living, you have a good sense of humor, you appreciate good relationships, right? You love to travel.
Are you a psychic? That's and all that I would say is true, and I would say that's more true in my life post divorce, if you will.
Yes.
So I kind of moved things around and had more self discovery. Um, when I was married, it was more of that's my role, and then I have my job role, and it's kind of two. But now, kind of broken it off into different categories, like you said. I like to travel. I don't get a
Right.
chance to do it that much because I'm working a lot, but and responsibilities. But yeah, that's a part of it. And
Right.
yeah, I have a here's a list of 20 people coming to my place at about 6:30 today. I'm not even kidding. And,
Nice.
and
Nice.
I live next to a concert venue that I work with, so we're going to see a concert. So I pregame at my place. So yeah, you're psychic.
Oh,
Like,
that sounds so fun.
yeah, yeah. It's just I love doing it, and if I can, share stuff with others, we do it. Um, but
Mhm.
it's interesting if we were to sit here internally, think about it, what our roles are. Who are you?
Right.
Who are you? I don't think we do that. Even write it
Yeah.
down. Who are you? And really go
Yeah.
deep. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Hmm. Um, how would you define you?
I would define me as fun. I can also be intense. I love to dance and I love what I do. I love to help people. So therefore, my profession is helping people. And I
Hmm,
love to listen. I love to sing, but I only sing when I'm alone and in the shower.
same. Yeah.
I love to cook. I love being creative, you know.
And without a shadow of a doubt, I believe you're an empath and you have picked up on your intuitiveness in call it the last 5 years or so. I think you've tuned it up a little bit in terms of your work, knowing when you work with someone, what they're feeling, what they're thinking, not just on an empathetic level, but a little bit more on the intuitive level. Would you say
Yes.
that's kind of right?
Yes. I think it's important for a therapist to have that
Hmm.
quality and to enhance it, to focus on it, to make sure that we trust that within us. Because ultimately, when somebody comes to therapy, I think that what's important is that you're able to sit with them and not judge them and help them to feel normal.
Um,
I don't know if that makes sense.
yeah, totally. And I'm thinking of for you one other
Mm.
thing. You're very honest and you tell it like it is. Like if somebody is sharing a challenge,
Yes.
you're not going to sugarcoat it. You're going to, I don't want to say call them out, but you're going to be real about it. This is what you need to know. This is what maybe you, meaning speaking to a client, that they need to hear. You're not going to, you're not going to like, soften it. You're going to be real. And I think that's it's very respectable. You're not telling. It's not like a friend
Yes.
telling you what you want to hear.
Right. Right. And with therapy is a little bit tricky because I have to gauge as to whether that person is ready to hear it.
Right.
So
Oh, okay. Hmm.
I've had to tone it down some to make sure that I'm not going to hurt the person that is in therapy any more than they already are.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, that's the empathetic side, I would say.
Yes.
And
Yes.
eventually, yeah, everything gets revealed, I believe, but in time. So you might not say something maybe in the beginning of some sessions with somebody. You give them a little bit of time, but eventually you're going to share with them what they really need to know to heal
Right.
and move their
Right.
life forward. Um,
Right.
what else when it comes to we're talking about relationships, jobs, things like that. You deal with a lot of people that have had personal injury due to many times a car accident. How does somebody's role change with that?
Depending on what the injury is, their role changes a lot.
Mm,
Because if it's a physical injury and let's say they're a driver for FedEx or UPS and they were involved in an accident and they can no longer sit. So who are they without that job, without making sure that they can function in a better way or function like they used to. Or, the loss of, I guess, being a provider
Mm.
in a role, especially for themselves, making sure that they can pay and cover all of the bills. That makes sense.
I didn't think of it that way. I'm thinking of it
Hmm.
um, more of a, um, your mobility could change and things like that. I didn't think of as, somebody who may not be able to work anymore as a result of an accident, and now they're uh, no longer being able to provide for a family, and what that must do to, somebody's ego. That's got to be
Yes.
super impactful.
Yes. Especially if that person is a parent and all of a sudden, then their children have to take care of them. So that role is very different.
How do you work with somebody or work them through something like that? Now, all of this, when it comes to an accident, personal injury, I mean, it's all impactful, but those situations, how do you reframe it or help somebody reframe it that now their identity has changed?
Well, I know we've had several different podcasts on different topics. So what ends up happening is it's we accumulate all of those topics. So it ends up being about forgiveness and shame and understanding what the reason is that the accident has happened, what was going on in their lives, and if they can find some meaning as to, that this accident happened because I was just going, and I needed to take a step back and slow down. Was my life not going in the right direction that this accident
Hmm.
happened that I need to redirect? Is one of the reasons why I've had this accident is to learn how to forgive, is to learn how to ask for help, or is it to learn to be humble?
Are you referring to the direction your life was going and then the accident took place and maybe it's time to change your direction? Maybe it wasn't the right direction anyway.
Right,
Hmm.
right.
And I'm not saying that the accident should have taken place, although there may some believe that well, the things do happen for a reason. Some may say, well, maybe that was your way of the universe telling you to wake up, that the direction your current identity isn't really the right one, and you need to go in another direction. Some believe that. I
Yes,
My jury's out on that one. I don't
yes.
wish anything on anybody, especially, an accident. I just want to share instant feedback, Steve at gmail.com. If you've got a question, also, if you can reach out by phone, we're here, 631 619 3275. I've got John in Springfield, Massachusetts checking in, and he says, with the roles in our life, is that similar to the parts of our personality?
I think that the parts of our personality have something to do with the roles in our lives,
Hmm.
because I think that some people, if you become a father, um, and you're a good father, then you have that characteristic if you really want to do that.
So you're saying
So
you
I think
have
yes,
the
there's
characteristic to be a father?
yes, yes,
Okay. Hmm. It's like so many aspects of our personality, and
right.
the parts of our personality, as I'm learning. Like it runs pretty deep, more
Yeah,
than I ever imagined.
yeah.
Hello?
Oh, I think we have
And
a
I
caller.
guess a clearer example.
I
Oh,
think there's somebody.
sorry.
Hi.
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Hi. Yes, this is Kenneth. Um, just calling in about like a question or two. I hear this is like kind of like counseling. Say.
Yeah, yeah.
I
We have a therapist.
yeah.
She's Miriam. We're talking with her today. What's your question?
Nice to meet you guys. Hey, Miriam. I'm just calling because like
Hi.
I've been feeling like pretty. I'd say I've been feeling pretty depressed. I feel like it's been leading on to like my like main life. Like in general, like if I'm trying to apply to jobs or just start working, nothing's really been going my way, and just all throughout the day I'm feeling like pretty depressed and like sorrow or just like down. I've been feeling blue, I guess I'd say.
Hmm. Did you hear him?
I couldn't hear everything completely. So if you could relay
Basically,
the
yeah, I
question,
feel
that
like
would be great.
yeah, I feel like my like depression is just getting in the way of like my day-to-day life. Like I want to like communicate or like get a job or like start to work. I feel like not too depressed to do things, but like it just that's what's causing me to not really get in the groove and like start doing my own thing, like working. I want to work. But I've been feeling really depressed. It's hard to get a job, and then just communicating with everybody is hard as well. So I don't know, like any tips I
I
might
see.
get on that, or like where I can start, like improve.
What have you been doing lately? Like, are you going out? What's making you more depressed, I guess is my question.
Well, I feel like I used to have a lot more people in my life, and now it's just kind of sorrowed down. I just like go to the same places, just go to like the park and home. Really, I've been trying to get a job. So I have like to like take my mind off of things, but that's the thing. I haven't been able to like really lock down a job at all. I'm really just at home most of the time, and it's kind of because
Okay.
I feel like I'm alone.
What kind of things are you interested in doing that you can do to change the patterns that you've been doing?
Well, maybe like I like to get into a hobby, but when I think about that stuff, I'm just thinking about work. So like a work or hobby.
So you're suggesting, Miriam,
Is
I
there a
try
hobby
to.
that you can do to turn into work? Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, I like animals. You can say I've tried to like apply to like animal places, but not sure.
Maybe what about, I mean, this is just because I love animals, volunteering. You know, if you have the time in between jobs, just feeling a sense of fulfillment that you're helping out. I used to volunteer at a shelter. I loved it. And then I started rescuing cats and taking them home. But maybe that would be something.
Yeah, yeah, that could be a start. I just have to look out to places to volunteer. That seems nice. Anything else? Though, like maybe another tip or two, I guess.
I think look into other hobbies that you may be good at for yourself. Like if you're an artist or if you like to work with your hands and you do some woodwork, the idea would be to get outside of your head because if you're depressed, you're in your head too much. So look for something that's going to get you outside of your head. And if you enjoy it, pay attention to how your body feels with that and see if there's anything that you can do with that to make money or, look into other groups or groups of people where they get together and do different things so that you can also start socializing and meeting new people.
Hmm. All right. That seems like
Does
it
that
could
help?
be a good start. Oh, yeah, I was gonna say I really appreciate the advice, the help today, guys. I'll leave you guys be. Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
calling
you.
in. Yeah, appreciate it. Um, yeah, that's a great suggestion because there's so many Facebook groups. You know, like you could identify one and then
Mhm.
connect with people. And I like you talk about a hobby and things like that. I had a realization in the last few months, Miriam. When I was a kid, I drew cartoons. I loved it. Make comic strips and get it, in the school newspaper and stuff like that. It was only a few months ago I realized that was my therapy. That was my
Yes.
therapy from my parents got divorced when I was very young, bullied and all of that kind of stuff. I didn't realize it, but that was my escape. Exactly what you just said to Kenneth. But as a kid, I didn't realize it. But now, as I look back, it was like, thank goodness I had that because that took me out of my head. And I would look forward to it. Like I would come up with an idea for a cartoon, and I would be intentional. Like, okay, after school today, 4 o'clock, I'm going into the basement. I'm going to set it up. I'm going to draw, and that was my beep, little spike of joy. Beep, a little one here, a little one there, and that kind of got me through. like a lot for a lot of years when I was younger. I didn't even realize it. So yeah, I mean, to your point, finding those things that do bring you a little bit of joy can go a long way. You might not see it now. I didn't see it then, but that stuff does make a difference, right?
Yes, it does.
So when it comes to identities, anything that we should share, as we get closer to wrapping things up today, things maybe we didn't touch upon.
Well, just to, I guess, echo what I just said, if we don't know who we are, I think it's a good idea and it can be a lot of fun to try different things to see how we feel about them and to see if that really truly is a part of us. Like drawing or sketching or painting or dancing, hiking, playing some kind of sport, especially if we have aggression that we need to release.
Hmm.
Um, my passion for many years was volleyball. There's nothing quite like hitting the ball as
Oh
hard as you
yeah,
can.
I'm there with you. And then for a short while, and I need to get back to it. Kickboxing. I wouldn't take classes. I'd just go to the gym and hit the bag. And wow, you don't realize
Yes.
it. You know what? It seems like all of these things we talk about, and some may say, well, all right, yeah, I guess I'll do that. We don't realize what substantial difference it makes in our lives. Like, you might say, go play volleyball, hit that ball. You're getting aggression out, you're getting exercise, chemicals in your body changing, can make you feel good. But if you're stuck in the moment, you're like, what's that going to do? No, you got to move. You got to take the step because it will make a difference in your life.
Yes. You want to release those endorphins, and any kind of movement does that.
Hmm. What about final thought here? When somebody we're talking about identity, um, when somebody says of themselves or even pointing somebody else that's close to them, they're going through like an identity crisis. It's an identity crisis. What essentially is that, and what can you do about that?
I think an identity crisis happens when you miss out on a period of your life when you were younger. And so you try to grab onto that and do different things of that age group. For example, when you have an older person getting all of a sudden a sports car or Jeep or any kind of thing that a 20 or 30-year-old would be doing. They're
Uh,
just trying to capture that time in their lives. And I think just the important thing is again, it's important to explore what it is that you enjoy doing,
hmm.
that makes you who you are, the things that you love.
Okay, so identity crisis, would we put that in the same category? I hate doing labels, but just for explanation purposes, is that like the midlife crisis?
Well, the example that I gave would be a midlife crisis, yeah,
Is there
for
anything wrong
somebody
with
who
that
missed
though?
out. I don't think so. I think, you know what, if you have the opportunity to go out and have fun and you missed out on certain things, as long as you're not hurting anybody else in the process, I
Right.
think it's I think it's a fun thing.
It's like as you get older, you look at these things, and back when you were younger, and you used to, see on TV, like, oh, look at that guy over there driving a Corvette. He's 50. I mean, come on, blah 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 blah. So what? If that makes you happy,
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that, And
absolutely.
what is wrong with going back to your younger years because it made you feel good? Maybe you had a Corvette back then, you had
Yeah.
to sell it, kids came along, blah, 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 whatever it might be. So what? Get another one. If that supports you, makes you feel good, why worry about what anybody thinks?
I'm with you, Steve.
Yeah, it's like it's your identity. Um, Best way to find you, how do we do that? If anybody's, dealing with some changes in life, and really, it's kind of all about the change. How do we find you?
I can be reached at 856-548-9557. And you can also go to the website. It's www.pippna.com.
Thank you for today. Thank you for breaking this all down where, again, I think it affects all of us. At some point, our identities are going to change because life is always changing. Appreciate you being here, and have a great weekend.
Thank you. It was great being on. You do the same.
We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.